Hi everybody, Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and as you can see we have the grey mat, so we are looking now at another Better Builders, Beginners video, whatever I call them, I can't remember now. So today we're going to look at masking, and masking of clear parts really, not just general masking. We'll look at that another time. So yeah, masking your clear parts so you can actually get really nice and neat framing on your canopies. This is actually the windscreen from the brand new Airfix 148 Sea King, and the reason I'm using this is because brilliantly Airfix have come up with a fantastic idea. They give you two of these. One has no windscreen wipers and the other one does. So if you're using Aftermarket, which there is none available for this kit at the moment, you would use this windscreen with no windscreen wipers, and then if you're going to build the kit out of the box as I am, you would use the other windscreen and then paint the moulded on windscreen wipers. So brilliant idea, thank you very much Airfix, well done. And I thought this is also a good one to use because we've got flat sort of square panels and we've also got compound curves going on, so that's good. It's good really for an example to show you. I probably will zoom in a bit when we actually do it. I want to start off by making 2 points. One, my fingernails are disgusting. I bite them, I can't stop. I'm really sorry. It's gross and I'm sorry you have to look at them, but I cannot model with rubber gloves on. So there we go. Two, I would normally do this sort of a couple of inches away from my face through a magnifier and get really nice sharp cut lines. I'm going to try my best to get this as neat as I can, but please remember that while I'm filming this I have to have it like a foot away from me so the camera can see what I'm doing, so that in turn you guys can see what I'm doing. So if you see me do a cut and it's not perfectly straight or it's a little bit off or whatever, it's not because I'm rubbish at doing it, it's because I'm old and my eyes are going and I can't do it at that distance. So that's basically where we're going. So that's the two points covered. So the first thing I want to look at is the tools that we can use to do the masking. So the first thing you need, the main thing you need, is a knife, and you need a brand new blade. Not a blade you put in yesterday, not a blade you put in this morning, a brand new blade, an unused, untouched blade. Don't cut anything with it. You need it to cut masking tape. Okay, so there we go. Next one's some tweezers. Now we've got these and these super precision tweezers, and in my opinion these are the best tweezers on the planet. These things are amazing. They are very, very sharp. They're fantastic for lifting masking off, and also because the point is so fine, when you put them down, the slightest area of tape that touches, it won't pull the mask off. We've all been there before where we're trying to put a piece of tape down and we put away with the tweezers and it just won't put it down because it's stuck more to the tweezers than it is to the model. So these things are brilliant. If you wanted to blunt them a bit, you could, because they are like razor sharp on the ends. So you have to be careful when you use them because you can actually scratch. I've also got these ordinary old round nose tweezers which I use a lot. These come from a set from Dave Coley's Emporium. So there we go, there's those. We need a cocktail stick, again a brand new cocktail stick, or just take an old one and cut the end off and sharpen it up. We need that for pushing the tape into corners. And we need a brand new cotton bud. Don't use one that you've had on the side of the bench. It may have super glue on it. If it does, it will scratch your clear parts. But basically we can use this just to clean the clear part before we mask it, and also for pushing the tape in. So there's basically our tools. That's what we're going to be using. Okay. Now as far as the actual materials go, you've got your good old Tamiya tape. There's the 6, the 10, the 17, and over here we have the 40. Okay, so you can use any of them. There's many other tapes you can get. There's this one here which is Mr. Hobby. You don't have to use Tamiya. The beauty of Tamiya is they have these dispensers so the tape stays nice and clean. You can see on here this is loose in the drawer and it's picked up lots of rubbish on its edge, so it's now no use for masking, because that will come off. When you pull the tape off, you will have all bits of fluff and fur and dust and all that stuff, so you won't have a sharp line. Be okay for using for cutting, which leads me on to another tool we can use, which is here, which is an Infini cutting mat. Now the beauty of this is you can use it for cutting strips of any size you want. There's 4 different ones, A, B, C, D. This is the most valuable one, it's straight. You can also use it for cutting pea and stuff on the back, or just as a general board for cutting stuff. But basically this is really handy for making, if you want to do a dead square, you can put a piece of tape down there. If I take a piece of 17mm tape, okay, I can put it on there like that, Okay, push it down. Now I'm going to get another knife out because I do not want to use my knife for cutting until I'm ready to do masking. So we can just come down here, slice down, okay, lift off that scrap piece there. That's that one gone there. Let's get this out of the way. And then I can cut across here. I've come out of the groove there. These little alpha knives are not the best for using in these. So I can cut that, take that tape away from there. And then I can cut down here. Okay, peel that away there, and then I can cut across here. And now I can use my tweezers to get under the corner. Lift the corner up, grab the tape, peel it off. There we go, we've got a perfect rectangle. So that's great for if you're coming into a square corner, like that say. I mean, here you've got a radius, so you don't want a dead sharp corner, but if you want it square, you got your piece of tape there. So that's the beauty of these. These are the Infini easy cutting mats. This is the most viable one, type A. There's all sorts of other ones you can get, but I've used them in all my videos. You can see me using them all the time. So there we go. This is the Alpha design knife. Not really recommended for use with them. It's a great little knife. It was given to me with a load of spare blades, so I will use it from time to time, but I don't tend to use it more than my sculpt. The only reason I use it then is because I don't want to use that blade, that tip. I want to save it for doing this masking. So there we go. So you've got our typical Tamiya tapes, as I say, in all the different sizes. These are actually kabuki tape. They're perfect for masking. They're very, very good indeed. We've also got all sorts of other sorts of tape. This again is a Tamiya tape, but again, as you can see, it's picked up dust on the edges, so it sort of renders it a little bit useless. But the beauty of this stuff is, if I cut a piece off, this is where having no fingernails doesn't help because I can't get under things. Come off, please. These tweezers have about as much grip as a slippery snail. I'll cut that off. There we go. I used the knife, but I didn't use the tip. And this stuff here, you can put it down. Okay, so we can put it down in the edge there, and then we can pull it around, pull it around, and pull it around, pull it around. And as you can see, it is possible to mask that curve on there. And then what we do is we come along with the cocktail stick, push it into that corner there, and cut it just like so, and pull that piece away. So there we go, it's that simple. Now, although you might be looking at it thinking, Christ, that's brilliant, that's bloody brilliant. The trouble is with this stuff, as you can see, as I'm saying, I would normally do this very close through a magnifier, so you can see it's not perfect there around there. I haven't done it at all well there. The trouble is with this stuff, it will tend to lift. If I put that down and come back to it in an hour, it probably will have started to lift. So be very, very wary. If you are using it, make sure you get your fingernail in there, get a cocktail stick, get right into the corner, right before you paint. Literally do it and then pick it up and spray it. Okay, even left for 10 minutes, it may start to lift. But it is very, very good. One of the biggest problems you will come up with it is you might tend to start to pull it because it is quite flexible. It will stretch. As you can see here, I can stretch it. And the trouble with that is, as you can see, it shrinks back. So if I'd stretch that round there to get it to go in nice, it would now start shrinking back. So be very, very careful. So that's the Tamiya, I think they call it curve line tape. And it's very, very good stuff. Oh, dear, dear, dear. It's very, very good stuff, and it has its uses. So very, very good there. Right, so we're going to cut that off of there and then put this back in its bag so it doesn't pick up any more dust and stuff on its edges. Right, so that's the Tamiya. I think it's called Tamiya curve line tape, but they do it in all sorts of different widths. This is the 3mm. So there we go. Maybe it's the 2mm. Yes, it's 2mm. Here we have the Sizo curve line tape. It's basically the same thing, but it's not as good, in my opinion. It's not as flexible as the Tamiya stuff, and when you go around a corner with it, it tends to bunch up on itself. I'll show you here. Grab another knife so I don't keep using this one. What's beauty of the size of this stuff, it comes with this plastic film on one edge, so you've always got one really good edge to use. Put that down there. Cut that off, put it straight back in its packet so it doesn't get dirty. Okay, and then we can put this on here. See if I can get that neatly into that corner. And then we can pull it around the radius just like so. And as you can see, it's lifting here. It's got a kink in it. It doesn't go as tightly as the Tamiya stuff does. So my recommendation is, if you want some curve line tape, get the Tamiya. It's much better. If I had them out now, I could put it like that. That'd be absolutely fine. But if I wanted to do this, the Tamiya would be far superior. If you go back and look at my Vulcan build, I think I used this for masking the camo on that one. So there we are. You can also buy these Aizu tapes. Aizu, all these Japanese names. This stuff is absolutely brilliant. As you can see, it's very thin. This is a 0.7. You can get it in all sorts of different widths. I can't remember what is the thinnest. I think the thinnest is 0.4. So it's very thin indeed. And with this stuff, what you can do is cut yourself a length. Okay, so we can get a length of this here. We'll just get rid of that tatty end. And I can put this down, same as before, and it will go around these corners with absolute ease. And it's a lot less likely to lift. It's more likely to stay down. And then what you can do is come along with, say this is a 1.5, a slightly thicker tape, go along next to it, and then you can start to fill in with your other bits of masking tape, or you can indeed use this liquid mask, which we're going to look at now. But these things are absolutely brilliant. You'll see me use these a lot in my builds. I really do rate them. They're fantastic. The 1.5 is great for little seat belts and stuff. But yeah, there's 0.4. I'm trying to think, I've got them all here in the drawer, but they're all sort of all over the drawer. So there's one there, it's 2.5mm. You can see there's all sorts of different thicknesses. Go look at Premium Hobby's website, have a look and see what he's got. So that's those. So I've shown you how to use those. And then of course, when you've got these compound curves, if you've got a flat surface like this here in the middle, you could just put a piece of tape over it, cut it, which I'll show you in a minute, and use that as a mask. But when you've got these curved surfaces, you need to use something like these tapes and go around the edges and stuff, fill in around the edges. Then you've got a hole to fill in the middle, and that's where this stuff comes in. Liquid mask. Now, I've been using this one a lot lately. This is the VMS stuff, and it's really good. It's got a really snazzy, neat little dispenser on it, tiny little nozzle, and you will see, I can't remember what it was I was doing now. What was it I was doing? I can't remember now, but I actually put it straight on the model with that and then just moved it around a bit to fill it in. Absolutely brilliant, really good stuff. So thoroughly recommend the VMS liquid mask, really good. You just use a brush with it if you want to, and then wash it immediately in water. Then you get these ones here. There's Mr. Hobby, there's a couple, there's a Mr. Masking Sol, and there's a Mr. Masking Sol R. If you look on the side of the bottle, what they tell you to do here is mask and then cut it with a knife and peel it away. I've never made that work, so but I don't recommend doing that. But basically this comes with a brush. It's a green liquid, and you apply it. And you apply it to fill in the hole that's left behind. So that is basically the equipment and the tools we use for masking. Of course, there is an easier option to all this, a much easier, slightly more costly, but much easier. Here we have the ASK Art Scale Kit distribution masks. In the UK, these are available from Hannants. And you can see here we have a set of masks, both for the P51D Mustang from Tamiya in 1/32 scale. One-sided, double-sided. What that basically means is this set of masks is only for the outside. Okay, so that will mask the outside only, and you paint it and peel the tape off. what you would normally do, you would mask the outside, and then you would paint the frame in the interior colour, the colour that the interior frame would be. So in the case of a Mustang, you would paint first of all the interior green colour, okay, leave the masks on, and then you would paint your external colour, whether it be silver or whatever it is. And then when you look at the inside, you will see the frames in green. When you look at the outside, you will see the frames in silver. The best way to go about it is using double-sided. So here you have inside and outside. So here you would mask inside and paint it green, and you would mask outside and paint it silver. And if you go back and look at my Hurricane build and my Spitfire build, I used the double-sided on them, and the effect you get is absolutely awesome, because when you look across the panel, when you look straight at it from this angle, straight at it, you will see the camouflage colour, the brown, green, whatever it is. But when you start looking on an angle, you can see the green inside, because the plastic has a thickness. You can see, and it looks like an internal frame. It looks absolutely incredible. Especially, go look at the Hurricane build I did, the Rival 1/32 scale Hurricane. It looks bloody awesome, and it's really, really good. The only thing is, you will generally find, other than I think Border Model have done it, you will generally find the inside is just smooth. There is no frame detail. So you've got to basically, the thing to do is mask the outside first and then mask the inside, lining it up with it. Otherwise, if you get it off, it can look a bit weird. You might have green paint showing here down the edge. If you've masked this, if you've got this mask here off to the right, you might have green paint showing. So you need to make sure you get it precisely placed, the interior mask. So that's another way of doing it. And you can see in here, this is what you get in the exterior set, and this is what you get in the interior set. So you can see we've got interior masks there, exterior masks there, and they are cut and sized perfectly to fit the model. Don't get the Tamiya set if you've got the Rival 1/32 scale P51D. It won't fit. They're going to be different. Okay, they're not always the same. And as you can see on here, you've got this shape. And as we all know, P51D canopy is like a big bubble canopy. You've got this shape, and that is for going around the edge. So it's down the side, up over the top, and you've got the other side, down the side, up over the top, and then you will fill in with your masking fluids. As a guess, go and have a look at my Spitfire build. You'll see me doing it on there. You'll see me using these. These, I think, are the best masks I've ever used. They are very, very thin. The cutting is super, super sharp. The instructions are really clear and easy to understand, and they fit like a dream. I've used 3 or 4 of these sets now, and I've only had to trim like one mask, and that was on the Border Models Mustang, Border Models Lancaster. I had to trim one slightly. They are absolutely awesome, and I mean, if you're doing something like a 48 scale Anson from Airfix, like I reviewed the other day, you'd be crazy not to buy a set of masks for it, because there's about 100 masks in there. So you can also get the Edward ones. This is for the Typhoon Mark 1B from our Airfix. And these are also very, very nice, but they are a bit thicker, I find. And they're absolutely perfect, but I just prefer these. I think they're thinner, and there's just something about them I like. The way they go down, the way they curve and everything, it's lovely. It's just the tape that they've used, that's all. But there you go. So that's your aftermarket. Now I've got some here that I'm never going to use. I've got a MiG-29 912 1/72 from Great Wall Hobby. I'm never going to build a 1/72 scale MiG-29, so I thought I'd just use a couple of these masks just to show you, and if I can get them back on the sheet, I will. So I'm going to take this out. Why don't I just pull it all out together? Duh. So you can see here we've got, on the back here we've got a display. I've got some tape stuck to my finger there. On the back here we've got a display of what we're actually getting in the set, and then over the page here it's showing us how to mask. Okay, and it's telling us stick the masks. Okay, so that's the front canopy, or the windscreen, that's the main canopy. Stick those down like that, like a frame, like I said. And as you can see, it's made in 4 pieces, so you don't get any problems with wrinkling up. Then you fill in the centre with Maskell. Okay, then use the colour of the rubber for spraying around the masks. So this is going to give you the option of having the rubber frame around the window as well. In 1/72 scale, that's really saying something. So now you've done this, the colour of your rubber, and then you're going to stick the mask 8, 9, 10 and 11, I should say, and spray the cabin by colour of camouflage. So you're going to do all that, okay, and then spray. So that's going to mask off the rubber, and then when you take it all off, you will have your camouflage and your rubber. So absolutely beautiful. And then you've got the other clear parts. That's going to be a landing light, and then you've got your wheels here. You've got a mask there, so you can spray your wheels. You're going to use mask all on the tyre and then spray your wheel. So very, very nice indeed. In fact, I'm not going to ruin that sheet because it looks like a beautiful little sheet, and I don't want to destroy it. So maybe a friend or someone will be building one of those kits and want to use these masks. So we'll put those away. Again, keep all this stuff away. You don't want dirt and dust getting onto it because it will just stick to it like a magnet. So there we are. So that's your masks. I will do another video on how to use these. I don't want to ruin this set. It's just a shame. If you watch my Border Models Lancaster build, you've seen me use them in there. If you watch my Spitfire, you've seen me use them on there. If you look at the Hurricane, I've used them on there. I've used them on the Apache. I used them on the Sky Crane. So all the builds I've done this year, you'll see me use these. So there we go. The ones on the Apache are still on there. They've been on there for a couple of months now. So we'll see how good they are to take off after they've been on there a couple of months. So that's all good. This is about manual masking. Now, for instance, with this Sea King, there are no masks available. If you're building a really old kit, there's probably no mask available, so you've got to mask it yourself. So how do we do it? Right, so first things first, if we look at this center panel here, we're going to look at what size tape we need. Now, that is roughly 10mm wide across the outside of those frames. So I can get a piece of 10mm tape off. I'm going to wipe my clear parts to make sure there's no fluff or dust or anything on there. And then I can lay this piece of tape down like that and just lightly rub it down. Get the cotton bud, rub it in the middle so it's gone down, and then we're going to go into the sides. And what we can do here is get a cocktail stick and push the cocktail stick into the corners of the frame. You can see what I'm doing there. I'm pushing it in. Okay, I'm just going to lift that side again. And sorry, what I showed you to do first of all was rub it with the, and that was really not the right thing to do, because it pulls the tape taut across the surface. What we want to do is make sure it goes into the corners. So we can go around with our cocktail stick, just dragging the cocktail stick, we can push the mask into those corners. Okay, now I'm hoping this is going to go right because I'm on camera. If it slips and I go wrong, you'll see what happens. This is one of the most nerve-wracking parts of model making, especially if you're new to the hobby, because if you slip or you miscut, you will ruin your clear parts. So that's why I say it's so important to get one of these if you can. So we're going to come down here, and I'm going to, with the knife, I'm going to come in slant. I'm not going to be like this because then the knife can wander. I'm going to go like this so I can just drag the knife and it should follow a straight line. I'm going to start in that corner, and the knife is like at 45 degrees to the surface. So I'm not cutting like that, I'm not cutting like that, I'm cutting in at like 45 degrees. I'm not pushing hard, and I'm just going to draw the knife back, staying in the groove, and then go around the radius. Draw the knife back, staying in the groove, go around the radius. Draw the knife back, staying in the groove. This is going extremely well at the moment, especially being that the camera's on. And then come back, pick up again, around that corner. Now I should find that when I pull this tape away, it all comes away. There we go. Now as you can see, I've messed up in that corner. You can see here, I've done it in that corner as well, I think, or is that just where the tape is lifted? Yeah, you can see I've messed up in those corners. That's where I'm sort of working so far away from myself and trying to do it all while I'm sort of staying on camera. Normally I'd have it close to my head. So what I could do is just take that tape off and start again. Or what I can do is put the tape down again into that corner, get the cocktail stick, push it down nice and tight. Okay, and then we can get our knife, come into that corner, again 45 degrees, come into the corner, round the radius, and then down, and then put that away. And you can see now we've got that corner covered. Okay, The biggest problem with that is now there will be a cut line, a mark on the clear plastic where I've cut it there. So that is why you get one chance at this really. If you cut very lightly, the scar will be very, very small. The other thing you could do is leave it, and if you use acrylic paint, like if you're using a Tamiya acrylic paints and you use an acrylic thinner, what you can do is afterwards you can come with a cocktail stick and scratch the paint off of the clear. So if you've painted over here, you can literally scratch the paint off and you'll be absolutely getting a nice sharp clean edge. So that's one way of doing it there. The other way I've shown you is the way with all the, using the fine tape. Now what we're going to have to do here is, as I showed you earlier, is use a narrower piece of tape. So what you can do, if you don't have any of that narrow tape, you can just take a piece like this. You can cut yourself a narrow strip, cut yourself an even narrower strip, like so. Pick it up with the tweezers, even, and then come into the corner like that. And we can lay this down. We can lay this down into the edge. Again, as I say, this isn't going to be perfect because I'm doing it for you guys, not for me. So we can lay this down here into the edge like so. Okay, so that's gone in like that. Come in with our knife, just trim the end. Same down there. Okay. I didn't push it in, did I? Just like so. Just like that. Does not want to cut this one. There we go, that's that one done. And then this one, that one comes away. So now you can see we've got our tape stuck to my bloody fingers. This is why I hit pipe masking tape. Go away, get off. It will not let go. Right, so there we go. So you can see we've got a narrow piece of tape there. Then we can get a slightly wider piece of tape. What have I got here is this. This is a bit wider. Bloody piece of tape still on the end of my finger. Get off. Right. So we can get this piece of tape, come along here. We can pull that one around just like so. It's probably a little bit too wide. And we can use that one next to that really thin one. And then once again, we could come in with a cocktail stick, push the corners in, or what you can do is come back and then with a pair of cutters or something, just take the tape off and cut it away from the end. And then when you mask down here and down there, you can use that masking tape to get a nice sharp line. So then we can come along with this piece here and we can mask down there so we can get this nice and tight up against that edge there. Pull it back so it's nice and tight against that edge there. Yep. And then we can lift the tape up so it comes away a bit. Push the tape into that corner. Push the tape into that corner there. Get our knife. Cut into there. Around that corner and up. And then we can cut into there. And around that corner and out. So that'll come away there. And then this piece here should also come away. There we go. We've got a nice radius in the corner. We've got a nice radius there. And then I can use this piece here to cut up there. Okay, so we got that nice and sharply into that corner there. And then I can use my cutters or scissors or whatever you've got to cut that piece of tape there. And I can cut that piece of tape there, because we don't need to go right into the corner because the piece going across has dealt with it. And I can see that I've got it slightly off, so I'm going to grab my anise tweezers because they've got a nice sharp end on them. just pick that up, pull it back a bit, and then lay it down so it forms a nice blend with that piece of tape that's already down. There we go. And there we are. As easy as that. And I could do with cutting a bit more off of that one there. I've left a bit too much on there. So we'll cut around there. The other thing you can sometimes do is just push it down, push the tape in. So there we go, all the way around that edge we've got a nice filled in area. Now what we could do now is just get bits of tape. Okay, so we get a piece of Tamiya tape and we can cut it into little pieces like that. Lift up the corners so we can pick it up. We can lay that one in there, like so. Go away pieces of masking tape please. And then we can lay that one in there, and then that one there can go across there. As you can see, just move that one over a touch. That is now masked, or you can use your liquid mask as I said earlier. So basically, if you don't want to do that, you can come in with your liquid mask. As I say, you can see me doing all this on the Spitfire, the Lancaster, the Hurricane, the Tarhay, the Sky Crane. We can just paint liquid mask on there, just like so, making sure we stay away from the frame. And there we go. The other thing I sometimes do, and you'll see me do it, is paint over where we've got a radius in the tape, because if it does lift, the liquid mask forms like a plastic skin and it will stretch. So if the tape starts to lift or wrinkle up in a radius or in a corner, then it won't, the paint can't get under it. So you can see what I've done there. I've painted over that corner, or that radius. And it really is as simple as that, guys. So I'm going to try and show you the damage I've done by miscutting that one. Yeah, you can see it. That's good. I'm glad you can see it. So you can see in that corner, if you look in this corner here, you can see there's a line mark where I've miscut it. And that is the biggest risk of masking like that when you're cutting with a knife. I'm just going to try it again and see if I can do a better job. So push into the corners, push into the corners. And this is the beauty of having a spare clear part to practice on. My intention is to make the masks on this part and then transfer them onto the other one. So I'm going to come down here, knife is 45 degrees into the corner, come around the radius, just like so, come around the radius, come around the radius, and come around the radius. There we go. Is that good enough? Yes, it is. That's much better. There you can see we've got it masked. So, and remember guys, don't beat yourself up if it's not perfect. If you look at aircraft in reality, you will find that the frames are not always perfect. There's often like a sealant going and squeezing out on Russian stuff. It's like generally pink. You'll see whites and greys and blacks and browns and all sorts of different colours. So if it isn't perfect, don't worry about it. What you'll find, whatever paint you've used, you can generally come along afterwards and just scratch the paint off with a sharp cocktail stick. And then when you put a wash on it, the wash will run into the corners and cover up any of your little inaccuracies. You can see that I've got a little inaccuracy in that corner there. It's not quite tight up to the edge, but if you look at many models, even done by the proper professional builders, their masking isn't always perfect. The best way to get the really neatest, tidiest jobs is to get these, really. So so there we go. So with this one, I'm forced into masking it myself. As I say, there's no aftermarket masks, so I'm forced into doing it myself, so I've got to go for it. There we go. So that has formed part 13 of the Build a Better Model for Beginners, or whatever it's called. I can't remember what the series is called now. And I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. The other thing I will say, if you are an experienced modeler, there are a million ways to skin a cat. I'm just showing you the way I do it. So, you know, sometimes I do these videos and people like to comment that I'm doing something wrong. I can't be doing it wrong because I've got the desired outcome. So, there we go. But as I say, Tamiya tape all the way is absolutely brilliant stuff. You can use these films. They tell you can cut them like that. I've never seen it. I can't make it work. So, and the main thing is you need a very, very sharp brand new blade. Don't be trying to use an old blade. And there you go. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all soon. And we'll have part 14. We're going to get some soldering going soon. So you'll enjoy that one. By the way, people keep asking me to show them how I do my resin parts. That I will never do. Okay, because that is a real hornet's nest of doing it this way and that way and the other way. So there's millions of videos on YouTube about doing resin casting. Go and watch them. They're full of information. But I will never ever do a video on how to cast resin parts. Okay, so I will see you all soon. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.